Good evening, and thank you for joining us in yet another episode of Inside Politics here at Yakubu Bauchi TV. I am your host, Zainab Muhammad Sabitu, and with me I have an analyst who we shall be discussing the program together with. He is Malam Aminu Makama Ilela, a lecturer with the Department of Education from the Faculty of Technology Education at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi. Thank you for joining us in the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So today we shall dive into most pressing national and political developments shaping our nation's political landscape on the program. And we have a lot to discuss, but the key and the main topics we shall be discussing in the program today are as follows. Or let me just say we shall be dissecting in this three. Starting with the program, starting with the topic, there is this issue of phantom agencies controversy, which is the ongoing fallout as an unapproved national brand development from the office of the secretary to the government of federation. And how do you, from what I'm seeing yesterday, there are some issues coming up, especially from the made in Nigeria product, which the DG, or should I say the coordinator, posted some appointment letters that the office of the office of the secretary of the federation gave him this position. I don't know if the Nigerian situation drew us to like how do we even think this is possible? How do we start talking about this? I'm just confused, just as I know and I believe my audience there are also confused about it.
Well, unfortunately, we have found ourselves in a very tricky situation, especially since the commencement of the investigation by the ICPC concerning the issue of the Presidential Investment Intervention, Foreign Intervention Agency, which somebody with name Adeni Matthew came out and claimed that he has been appointed by the government, and the Chief of Staff of the President came out to deny the appointment.
Even has bank accounts claiming.
And so even when the House of Representatives set up a committee to investigate the activities of that phantom institution or agency, many people who appeared before the committee gave a narrative that shows that there are a lot of leakages in terms of doing a very honest and serious checks and balances in government institutions, especially from the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, as well as the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. Because there is no way somebody can just appear with an appointment letter and then the Office of the Head of Service or Office of the SGF start issuing him office accommodation, giving him waiver to employ people, a lot of things without doing background checks. And if you recall, even in appointments, this has normally been the case, even with the security checks that normally accompanied appointments into public offices. You know, whenever somebody is going to be appointed into a position, the presidency, that is the appointing authority, normally sent his details to DSS, to the police, to do a background check about the personality of the individual. And even the National Assembly, where there is a need for confirmation of appointment, like that of ministers and chief executive of some agencies, which the National Assembly has a mandate to confirm them before their appointment become valid. They are supposed to carry out some of these investigations, background about the individual. But we have seen how many people, after they have even been confirmed, they have assumed office, and then you will be hearing about fake results. You remember the Minister of Science and Technology who was asked to resign. And also there was issue of so many government appointees who were even appointed at a time when they have already dead. You remember the list of ambassadors that were sent with so many dead persons. So there are a lot of problem in terms of the way Office of the SGF and Office of the Head of Service are carrying out their duties. And also the Office of the security agencies that are mandated to carry out security background. Because somebody cannot just come out with an appointment letter to the head of service office, or even sometimes to send it to the head of office without undergoing a forensic investigation into the authenticity of that paper or that appointment letter. And now the chairman of ICPC is even coming out to say there are more agencies that they have uncovered.
I've seen that.
So, and the denial by the person that claimed to be the national coordinator of the Made in Nigeria brand, that the appointment was given to him even since the time of President, about, no, he was claiming that the appointment started in 2014 during the time of President Goodluck Jonathan. And that he has been appointing coordinators at state. The only thing is that the nomenclature of the office, the name of the office changed over time. And even the current SSG of the governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, came out to say yes, she was nominated by her governor to serve as the coordinator before she became the SSG.
So given to that, does that this incident points to a fundamental collapse in civil service vetting protocols?
Seriously, because if there are genuine vetting process of all agencies of government, there won't be this kind of fake agencies being uncovered in a shameless manner, because the issue of Adeni Matthew has not been subsided. Then now we have another person that the president even gave a directive that he should just be arrested, and 3 permanent secretaries should be suspended. When we said the chief of staff to the president should also be suspended until when investigations are carried out, the president refused to heed to that call. Many Nigerians say, why will you keep him in the office when he is also part of those who are accused to be the mastermind of the creation of that agency? But now senior permanent secretaries at the office of the SGF were asked to resign, were asked to be suspended before investigation is carried out. So you can see not only the vetting process, but also the way the government is treating some people, giving them more powers or more closeness to the government over others, is also a thing of concern. Because a permanent secretary is a chief accounting officer in any office that he is in charge of. Now, if he is found to be suspected that he is part of something that is happening, the government will now say, okay, stay back, or you are to be suspended until when investigations are carried out. But why is the chief of staff to the president not being given the same treatment? Because you cannot, for example, ICPC as an agency of government now investigate chief of staff while he is in the office as the chief of staff to the president, because there are so many latitude of opportunities and powers that reside in the office, which the ICPC as a government agency, which is under the presidency, cannot in any sense of its responsibility go beyond their investigative powers to check everything in excess that may warrant opening up exactly the role of the chief of staff in the entire saga. So the chief of staff was invited to the ICPC. He went there. He just gave his briefings. But the person in question, Mr. Adeni, demanded that he should also be taken to the ICPC for investigation, and so that he can also give his own side of the story. But he was denied. The police refused to even allow him to also go to the National Assembly Committee to also give his own side. Up till now, Nigerians, besides the statements he made before he was arrested, Nigerians were not given the chance to hear from him. The only story we are hearing is from the side of the government.
I remember he said his life was in a threat or something like that. I saw a post mentioning that.
Of course, and they have not been able to allow him to even speak his own side of the story. Now, because he made so many strong allegations of money given to the officer, the chief of staff through somebody that is now presumed dead, and then the issue of the dividing of their subvention, the take-up grant of that commission or agency. So many things. He mentioned a lot of things that are directly linked to the office of the chief of staff. But the chief of staff has not been asked to step down until when investigations are concluded. He was only allowed to continue in office, and then claim that he doesn't even know the man. He has never met him in his life, and all what he is saying is not true. So definitely, it's not only about the vetting process. The vetting process has already been thrown to the wind. So, and now the preferential treatment given to some appointees of a government
Now,
is also another problem.
to round up this topic and to restore the integrity of the country,
Yes.
what do you think the immediate structural reforms must the federal government implement to ensure entitles cannot operate under official pretext?
I think the first thing is the government need to go back to the Oransanye report.
Okay.
Just this morning, I saw a newspaper report that was talking about since 2014, the Oransanye report has been
20 years
there
also.
has been politicking about the report. Even the present government, you remember the president set up a committee under Hadiza Bala Usman that they should come up with a modalities on how to resize the offices that are in the government service based on the recommendation of Oransanye. But up to today, more agencies are being created, and the way they are being created, there has not been any mechanism put in place by real offices of checks and balances like the office of the SGF. If an agency of government is created, it has to be through the office of the SGF. And the issue of employment of staff, it has to go through the office of the head of service. So I think the most important thing is the government to have the political will to implement the Oransanye report.
Yeah.
Unlike the predecessors that were not able to do that. Jonathan could not implement. Buhari even promised to implement Oransanye report because there are many duplicating agencies that are doing work of one another. And if we use the Oransanye report, it can enable the government to now take enumerated the number of agencies the government has under each of the government department or ministries, and then they can be able to now come up with a new law that will now create a policy for establishment of any agency of government. Because now departments can organize, can set up committees. From committees, it now sometimes metamorphoses into departments, from departments into agencies. And members of the National Assembly always came up with establishment of agencies, making laws for establishment of agencies. And sometimes these agencies, when they have been passed by the National Assembly and the presidency is yet to even approve or sign the law for it to become valid, some people will just use that law and go and create the agency. So there is need for a serious, harmonious working relationship between the law establishing unit of the democratic governance, that is the National Assembly, and then the executive arm of government, in ensuring that every agency of government. That is why even I think the government now at this point need to do a serious verification of all existing government agencies and the statutory laws that establish them, so that every ministry and the statutory departments that are under the ministry should be brought out and then look at the laws that establish them. If the laws are archaic and obsolete, they need to be sent to the National Assembly for review, reenactment, so that it can go with the current realities. Because only God knows how many agencies metamorphose from committees. Because some of these agencies were just, the Made in Nigeria brand was just a committee that was set up during President Olusegun Obasanjo to promote under Ministry of Investment, then Ministry of Commerce and Industries. It was just a committee that was established. But that committee now, when it finishes work, somebody now got a loophole and he now used it to make it into a kind of an agency or a department under the ministry. So I think the government need to do a forensic investigation and verification of all government departments and agencies under the federal government, and then look at the laws that establish them with a view to taking all those with an obsolete laws that may give room for people to manipulate and create another agency to the National Assembly, so that they will reenact them, and then even those that are seen to be not really needed. That is the issue of the Oransanye report. It should be religiously implemented so that the government will even have enough resources that it can utilize for the welfare of Nigerian civil servants.
All right, don't be carried away. You're still into the program Inside Politics, where we are discussing about anything development and political development, our national concern, and a lot. Moving to our next topic, which is about the former Chief of Army Staff, General Buratai, who recently cautioned against the public release of President Tinubu's file, or should I say drug files. He is arguing that if the US happens to release these legal files, then Nigeria or Africa in general will lose its integrity. and we will lose this national dignity that we have, and Nigeria must protect the sovereignty.
Yes.
So, Madam Aminu, talking about this, Buratai argues that airing this will definitely damages the international integrity of Nigeria and its image at a whole. So, my question is, where do we draw line between national prestige or protecting our national prestige and then upholding public transparency? Because either of the two should happen.
Yes.
Where do we draw line between these two?
Well, you see, one thing is the office of the president is a very serious office. For example, it represents the sovereignty of the country. It doesn't matter the person that is occupying the office, but the statutory powers of that office that represent the sovereignty of the entire country. So if we look at the argument of General Borotai, he is looking at it from the perspective of the sovereignty and the integrity of the Nigeria as a country. And Nigeria being the country that represents even the African continent in many international fora, Nigeria is seen as the mother of African continent. And whatever happens to the sovereignty or image or integrity of Nigeria, it affects Africa in its
general,
entirety.
yeah.
Now, even the FBI wrote to the court that they don't want to release the report because they think that the report may likely send a very serious trouble to the cohesion and the diplomatic relationship between Nigeria and the United States. So the distinction between the image and the integrity or sovereignty of Nigeria and transparency in public office can only be established when the personality of the individual in question is not on the seat of the presidency. That's how I see it. Because now, whatever happened to the personality of President Tinubu, as far as he is the president of Nigeria, it affects the entire country. This is the argument of the likes of General Burite and even the FBI. But coming to Nigeria, the politicians that are amplifying this issue, they need to answer so many questions. Let's take Atiku Abubakar, for example. He has been doing politics with President Tinubu since 1993. They have been in the SDP, so he knows a lot about President Tinubu. Up to the moment where they contested together in 2023, Atiku Abubakar was aware of all these things. These things ought to have been brought out before the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu become the president of Nigeria. And that is why even the constitution of Nigeria said all these issues will be trashed as a pre-election cases, because after election, the person that is being sworn into office, there are so many things which immunity and other issues surrounding the sovereignty of the country cannot be able to establish. For example, United States is always talking about the issue of International Court of Criminal Court of Justice, ICC, but it has not been signatory to it. Do you know why? They always argue that they are citizens of the United States, and the sovereignty of the United States is so sacrosanct that they cannot allow any citizen of their country to be tried in any court outside the United States. Even if the citizen commit any offense outside the United States, it is only the court of the United States that can try him. So that is why they now refuse to sign, but they are always pushing for the ICC to judge or to prosecute leaders of other countries. Now, if we look at the issue of Tinubu, the issue of certificate forgery, the issue of the case, a drug-related case that there was this alleged issue in 1994. From 1994, Tinubu contested for the governor of Lagos State in 1999. The likes of Atiku Abubakar then were not even in the party, the same party with Tinubu. Tinubu was in AD in 1999, while Atiku was the vice president. And if you remember, there was no love lost between the presidency then in 1999 to 2007 and the Lagos State government, to the extent that Tinubu was the only lone AD governor from 2003 to 2007. The then President Olusegun Obasanjo was able to get all the remaining southwestern states to the PDP. So where was Atiku Abubakar with all his closeness and the relationship they had with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that they were not able to bring all these things out until when the man is already sitting as a president of the country? That is the argument of the people, of the likes of Burite, that now that Tinubu represents the sovereignty of Nigeria, bringing all these things just in order to tarnish his image as a person is not enough, because that image he represents is that of the country. and not of his personality as Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So, and for them to get that into the court in Nigeria, because what many political analysts are arguing about is what is the role of this case in terms of allowing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to contest the 2027 election or not?
Yeah, that's my question. Is it shielding public office holders, or should I like full discourse or something like that?
That is the point that many people are now asking. What role can this issue, if it is brought out, will play in the 2027 election? Can it stop him from participating in the general election? No, because he has not been convicted by any court of law. And now that he has immunity, because this is not an electoral issue, it's a drug-related issue. Now that he has immunity, he cannot be tried by any court of law in Nigeria. So the only thing is, Atiku Abubakar is trying to use that in order to sell to the Nigerian citizens or voters that this man has so many baggage and you should not vote for him. But for them to go to court to get that, to ask the court to maybe bring out the files and then had a fresh trial so that he can be convicted. He cannot be convicted. Even if he's convicted in the United States, he is in Nigeria. He cannot be convicted elsewhere as the president of Nigeria. So it's just a kind of politicking that they are trying to turn the minds of Nigerians into discussing very important issues.
Talking about this, was this setting a precedent of holding or shielding such external legal records, protect national security? Because this is somehow of a concern about the national security.
No, I think the most important, Zainab, is that now it has opened up to Nigerians to start scrutinizing people who are contesting for the office, not only the presidency, but all other offices. Because if we allow until when somebody is on seat, before we start bringing all these things out, it will affect the integrity of the country, not that of the person. Assuming President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is just a contestant like Atiku Abubakar or Peter Obi, bringing all these things will really allow even his opponents to take him to court. And the court, if it's able to establish its findings and then convict him, means that he cannot even go near the contest of 2027. But now that he is the president and constitutionally he has immunity, you cannot be able to do that. So even in 2023, they did not brought all these things.
That's what I'm coming from.
That is why I said all these things about Tinubu ought to have been brought out before he became the president, so that he can be stopped from becoming the president. Because the argument of the likes of Borete is that now that he is a sitting president, subjecting him to this kind of things will denigrate the image and the integrity of the country, because people outside Nigeria will not be seeing it as a personal affairs of the president. They will be seeing president of Nigeria is accused of, you understand? But they will not be saying Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But assuming he's just a candidate standing for election, nobody will be saying Nigeria. But a contestant under social party is alleged to have participated in a drug-related case. You remember the likes of Reno Omokri. They amplified this thing prior to 2023 elections. And then nobody was accusing them of saying they want to denigrate the image of Nigeria. But the problem is Atiku has not been able to brought all these things before 2023 election in order for Nigerians to see for themselves that this is the person that you want to elect as a president. So going forward, I think the best thing is politicians should be able to bring out anything that concerns anybody that is aspiring for any office before he is elected into that office. Because by the time he become a governor of a state or a president of the country, whatever you want to do, one, immunity will shield him. Then second, whatever will happen to his name will be relatively affect the status or integrity of the state he governs or the country he governs. So that is the argument of, so that is why I think what Atiku Abubakar is doing now, he knows fully well that President Tinubu has immunity. He cannot be tried in any Nigerian court on a drug-related case, but he will use it as an evidence that he can now campaign against the personality of Tinubu, so that Nigerians who may likely have interest to vote for him will now say, we cannot vote for an alleged drug addict or drug peddler or something like that. So it's just merely politics. Nigerians ought to have done
Nigeria
this
is
long time
pregnant.
ago.
Definitely, the delivery day will be something surprising.
As election is coming closer, you will
Yeah.
be seeing a lot of these things coming out.
Yeah. So talking about the election, talking about campaigns, now let's talk about opposition,
Yes.
where Konkoso criticized the APC campaign setup. He is saying that I think he raised concern over the DG, especially saying that somehow the APC is trying to cover up some corrupt officials or something like that. So he raised this sharp concern over top civil services, especially the revenue service chairman, and then he's serving. And his concern is, would that not be a partisan politics?
Well, you see, what Konkoso is talking about is really a thing of concern, because the list of people that the APC brought out as the presidential campaign team has so many public officers who are holding key and strategic offices, like the chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service, Zak Adediji, and many others, like Dr. Tanimu Kulpi, who is the DG of the Budget Office, is also part of the fund mobilization campaign team. Now, but coming to these individuals, they are politicians who were appointed by the president as politicians. But the office they hold morally, because I think Konkoso is not talking about the legal aspect of it, but the morality angle of
neutrality. He made mention of neutrality.
Yes, they can never be neutral because they are members of the political party that is holding sway as the ruling party. Zak Adediji is a member of a card-carrying members of the APC, even as the chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service. So what I am thinking is they ought to have looked at it from the moral angle of it. Can a chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service, even if he's a card-carrying member of a political party, be part of the campaign and also holding the chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service? I think it's morally wrong. But there is no any law that says a card-carrying member, even if he's a minister or a government appointee in any organization, cannot be a political appointee and also a member of a campaign team. In states, commissioners and chairman of agencies whom a governor appointed because they are members of his political team can also be part of the campaign team. So why I assume Konkoso is looking at the moral angle of it is even talking about the DG of the campaign. That is Abdulaziz Yari, former governor of Zamfara State.
And I think because some candidates of the ADC, that is Atiku Abubakar, has also made mention of these corrupt officials are being covered through this
Dino Melai even threatened to take Zak Adediji to court because as a chairman of NRS, he cannot be. I don't know the line of laws he's going to apply.
You know, he's a serving lawyer now, so definitely
a fresh lawyer. So maybe he has gotten new
definitely he must have something to cover up his
But
claims.
I think what the opposition leaders are talking about is the morality part of involving these people, because for ADC they were talking about the insecurity that has plagued Zamfara State, and then somebody who has been a governor in Zamfara State and who has been accused of even conniving with some of these criminals to perpetuate criminal activities in the state in order to tap mineral resources belonging to Nigerian state is now the chairman of the campaign. And every Nigerian know the personality of Abdulaziz Yari, how rich he has become and how well established he has become, and being only the governor of Zamfara State, because nobody knows Abdulaziz Yari before he became the governor.
So does his appeal means that, does his appeal rooted to this regional concern, because he's also from the Northwest?
Of course, it's rooted based on the regional concern, because he's talking about security, that Northerners should not support the re-election of President Bola Mohammed, especially those who come from states like Katsina, states like Zamfara, states like Sokoto, because according to them, the president has not been able to tame the insecurity that bedevils their communities. So it is a shameful thing for a politician from Zamfara state to champion the re-election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because they felt that many people are being killed daily in his home state, sometimes even in his home village, but he is still saying Tinubu should continue. So they are looking at it from the regional side as well as the moral side of it. And they are also looking at the political side of it, because they are giving reference to Nasir El-Rufai, I saw in the statement made by Rabiu Musa Konkoso, he was even cautioning Abdulaziz Yari to remember what Nasir El-Rufai told even northern elders because of his love for the election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and how he was paid back by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and even the angle at which they are looking at appointments into juicy ministries and agencies were given to the southwest, to his people of his tribe, and then anything politics, he now take it to the north. And the people that even worked hard for him, they mentioned the former governor of Jigawa State, Badaru, that he is now even a deputy director 3 in a subcommittee in the presidential campaign, despite the role he played.
A political maneuver.
It's a political maneuver because, one, they are sending a message to northerners where the bulk of the votes resides, that don't allow these northerners in APC to come and tell you anything about this man, because he's even going to use and dump them like he used El-Rufai and dump him later. So they are trying to secure more political prospect in terms of gaining more votes from the north, where the bulk of the votes resides in the country, that do not trust APC, do not trust the people that have been given appointments in the APC from the north, because they have no moral right to even campaign for Tinubu in the north, based on insecurity, based on unemployment, based on so many things, especially lopsidedness in appointments that they have mentioned. Because I saw even one newspaper carrying out the list of appointments that all economic team belongs to the south west, while political advisor, political this, political that are now given to northerners.
Nigerians should also
so that is why I said the most important role that Nigerians should be able to understand these politicians, be it Konkoso, be it Atiku or Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is Nigerians should be able to discuss issues that are available in the country. Nobody should allow Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar or Konkoso to while away sentiments in order to hide about discussing issues. We are in the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu now. Atiku Abubakar, you want to succeed Tinubu. Konkoso or Peter Obi, you want to succeed. Tell us what you want to do differently from what Tinubu is doing. Like the issue of subsidy that now Atiku brought. These are things that we need to be discussing. But you cannot stop an APC member from the north from taking up appointment from the government, which is a member of the party. Instead, Konkoso should be able to talk about what they will do, him and Peter Obi, about security in Zamfara, about security in Sokoto, about security in Katsina, so that Nigerians will now see that yes, we need to change this man and allow these people to come because they have better things to offer than him. But when you don't talk about issues, you only look at peripherals, things that will only cause argument on social media, it will derail Nigerians from understanding which one is the best among them, which one has better prospects or better proposals that he can be able to offer good living condition to Nigerians.
This is oppresso and oppressed. So, Madam Aminu, looking at all these 3 topics, issues we've discussed, institutional loopholes, transparency, and debates of the premature campaign politics. So, what is the single biggest lesson should Nigerians learn from all these 3? I know there are a lot of questions, a lot of things or concerns around this. So from your end, what do you think the lessons should Nigerians able to, like the Nigerian governance, although must learn moving forward?
I think what Nigerians need to learn from all these hula-baloo political gimmicks that are taking place in the country is first to understand that these politicians are doing their politics for their own personal interests. Because all what they are looking for is how they can outwin one another. Atiku Abubakar is going for his last attempt. He mentioned it.
As he said.
As far as he is concerned, this is his last fight and he will fight to finish. Konkoso is looking at our opportunity where Peter Obi promised to do only 1 term, and by 2031, maybe he is going to become the presidential candidate. So one lesson that Nigerians need to look at all these things that are happening is that they need to put their eyes on the main issue of Nigerian project. Which among these candidates has better things to offer to Nigerians, better solutions to Nigeria's problems? Don't allow politics of religion, politics of ethnicity to becloud our sense of judgment by choosing who we want to vote on election day. Who has better solution to Nigeria's problems? Because Nigeria's problem will remain Even when Bola Tinubu leaves office, even when Atiku becomes the president, even if Peter Obi becomes the president, the problems will be there. But who among them has better solutions to the problem that Nigerians will now decide that, yes, Mr. A has brought so many things that if we vote for him, I think they are going to solve the problem. So the main lesson is Nigerians should not allow this politicking and name calling between this presidential candidate to take away the main issues, that is problems of Nigeria. And that is why I agree with some presidential candidate of the smaller parties that the discussion should be about issues, not about personalities or about regional or about religion or ethnic sentiment, because these are the things that always brought Nigeria to its knees. Look at the issue of Muslim ticket. Where has it brought us to? And nobody can come now and tell you that there is any difference between a Muslim Christian ticket and a Muslim ticket as far as the problem of Nigeria is concerned. So Nigerians were taken aback when they realized that even the Muslim ticket benefited even more Christians than Muslims, because so many Christians benefited more immensely than so many Muslims that have championed the issue of Muslim ticket. So it's better that Nigerians now take this as a lesson. Stop following the trends of politicians because they are doing all these things to get into office. Look at the issues that bedevil the country. No region is secured. No religion is secured. No ethnic group is secured, is economically viable or buoyant. Every Nigerian, every citizen of Nigeria is suffering. So who will solve this suffering? That is what Nigerians should be able to discuss, should be able to argue about, and not about the certificate of President A, the age of President B, or the region of President C. Because many people now are discussing Peter Obi is not from the north, Atiku is from the north, Tinubu is... These are not the solutions to Nigerian problems. The Yorubas in the southwest are still having it very hard because of the subsidy removal. It is not because people in Lagos are now enjoying because their son, when Buhari was in power for 8 years, did not get anything better than the other parts of the country. So citizens should learn that politicians, we should leave politics to politicians. On the day of voting, let's vote for the person we see has proper solutions to our problems.
And that brings the end of today's edition of Inside Politics here at Bauchi Television, TV. A very special thank you to our guest today, who is happened to be Malam Aminu Makama Ilela from the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, who really dissects this issue based on his political view, his political lenses. We'll await your response at the comment section of this program, where we'll be seeing your comments, and definitely we'll dissect more on this issue. A very special thank you to our production crew who are behind the camera, behind every single topic we discussed on this program today. Thank you for joining us in this program, and thank you for being the part of this audience of this special program. I am your host for today, Zainab Muhammad Sabitu. Join us in another episode of this program.